Let me show you how I made this ceramic mug from my home pottery studio right here in Oxford. Like most projects, I begin my work on the potter's wheel. I'm laying down some clay and then attaching my bat to it. I really try to focus on throwing on wooden bats. It allows me to remove the ceramic vessel easier so that it doesn't warp or deform. I create a cone tip on the ceramic ball and then throw it down onto the bat. Lightly lubricating my hands with some water, I just let the inner ball roll around until it creates a rough, smooth texture. Then use my index finger, I'll seal the ball onto the bat itself and then begin coning and centering the clay. Coning and centering is a really important part of learning how to throw ceramics on a potter's wheel. It allows you to make sure that all the clay particles are facing in the same direction and that the clay is a single consistency all the way through. This will allow the clay to eventually spin really centrally and it won't wobble at all. You'll notice as I go through this coning and centering process that the cone and the ball become much more stable while spinning around on the potter's wheel. When pressing the ceramic down onto the wheel, I want to angle the cone slightly forwards and that allows it to push really centrally. Next, I'll run my finger over the ball of clay to make sure that there's no wobbles or inconsistencies before any final corrections with my hand. You can see that my hand's relatively stable. Next, I'll open up the clay and then press down in the center to push the clay onto the ceramic bat. Now I'll begin lifting the vessel up. So with my right hand outside of the vessel and my left hand inside of the vessel, I have the outside one slightly lower and the inner one slightly higher. I'll begin to pinch the walls, pulling the clay up into that tall vessel shape you can see here. There's a slight wobble, so just using the inner side of my palm to collar and correct for that. Next, I'm going to tidy up the feet using this wooden piece here and just removing that excess clay so that when I bring in my wooden kidney in a minute, it can be pressed right against the surface. Here's the wooden kidney that I was just talking about. I'll lay it flat on the potter's wheel, a fixed distance from the ceramic vessel. Using my left hand, I'll push the inside of the clay out against that wooden kidney. It's always important to do it that way round because if you push the wooden kidney into the clay surface itself, it can chatter and sometimes it can cause the indentations into the wall or the surface of the clay. For this piece, I was trying to get all my mugs a certain height and I noticed that this one was too big, so I've just removed a little bit off the top with a pin, and then using the sponge and my fingers, I begin to refine the lip. Finally, once I'm happy with the shape, I'll run a wire underneath and lift it off the bat and pop it in the box to work on later. A couple of days have passed and the ceramic mug is now leather hard and ready to be trimmed. So I place the vessel on the potter's wheel and using this wooden piece here, I'm just smoothing out the inner surface of the mug, making sure that I'm removing any marks or inconsistencies from throwing. You can see at the base of the mug there's some blobs of clay and they're just there to really brace everything. Next, I'll flip the mug over and begin trimming the walls and the base. I found that with some of these that I made, because the surface area is relatively low, when the mug's flipped upside down like this, that it often gets thrown off the wheel. So I think in future videos, I'm going to focus on creating some ceramic chucks that I can place the vessel on top of and that will hold it into place quite nicely. Often throwing like this without using a chuck will cause the opening of the vessel to warp slightly or throw it off. Using the carving tool, I'm creating the base that's really flat and that should correct for the wobble later. Now I'm on to throwing the handle, so I will hold a larger piece of clay and just run my hand over it, pulling down gently, and this will begin to slowly elongate it. I was talking to some ceramic friends online before, and they actually mentioned if you create the handle a day after you've thrown the mug, and then when you go to attach them together, both will be quite a good consistency. So I'm going to definitely try that in a future video. So to attach the mug to the handle, I'll score in some lines and then apply some slip before pressing the handle down onto the edge of the mug like so. Do the same with the bottom and then apply the bottom part. I'm now going to work on using this wooden tool to smooth off those edges so that it all looks seamless and it looks as if the handle is protruding from the vessel rather than being attached. Looking back at the videos, I actually quite like having that lump at the bottom, as you can see here, of the handle. But however, in this video I did actually remove that. So again, in future videos I think I might keep that and just have it so that it's folded over and placed on as you saw. What do you guys think? Let me know which one you think makes the mug look better from your view in the comments below. And here's the final mug. Thank you for watching and don't forget to like and subscribe.